All right, welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel. This is my co-host Amy Vasel, and what? All right, Holly actually, and we're here talking about my top 100 board games. Well, today we're going to be talking about numbers 31 to 35, and that's pretty exciting. We're getting close to the end. Some of these are really great games, so let's just get started talking about these games today. Today, the first one we're talking about, number 35, is Shadows over Camelot. If you've ever listened to the Dice Tower podcast, this is a game we talk about all the time. It's just a tremendous game, mostly because it's a cooperative game. Oh, you want these? Okay. Each player is a knight of the round table. So let me quick show you here. There's lots of boards and lots of parts to the game. But each person is a knight from the round table here. And the knights, here's a few of the various knights that are included with the game. Each player is a knight, and you're trying to vanquish evil. And there's different ways vanquishing evil. Getting rid of the evil Picts and Saxons. Getting rid of catapults that are attacking your wall. Trying just basically to survive. And what makes it really fun, I mean, I like cooperative games. I like working together to stop something, and Pandemic and the Arkham Horror and many of these games. But what really makes Shadows over Camelot shine is the fact that a traitor is possibly involved. And yeah, there's a lot of, maybe mundane activities, putting down cards here, moving here. But I'm telling you, every time I've played it, it's been so much fun because everyone is accusing each other of being the traitor and doing that. And there's a lot of groupthink going on and trying to stop other players. And it's just a blast every single time. An expansion's been released, which gives more knights and more abilities. And overall, just a tremendous game. Of all the games on my list, this is certainly high on most played. Just because new people get into it. Several people I've taught the game to immediately announce that it's their favorite game. And that changes maybe over time, but still, it just succeeds in so many ways, especially with large groups. And now with the expansion, I can play 8 people. So my number 35 is Shadows over Camelot. Number 34 is a really big game. I'm not even putting it all here on the table. And it's 2 different games, basically. Here's a few boxes. Pitch Car or Carabande. Now, Pitch Car and Carabande use these wooden tracks, and on these wooden tracks, they have discs. These little discs you'll take, and you put them on the track, and this track will have these orange or red, depending what system you have, Carabande or Pitch Car. They're the same game, basically, and unfortunately, they don't fit together, but other than that, they're the exact same game. And you put these discs on the track, and then you can flick it with either putting your hand like this or just flicking it like that around the track, trying to move it around. And you can play with 32 people if you get enough of these discs, these cars. And you can make all kinds of tracks, and expansions bring jumps and curves and all kinds of things. It's a very heavy, durable game. It takes a lot of room. I've set it up on a pool table. I've set it up on a ping pong table. I've set it up on several tables, making these tracks. And it's one of those games I bring to large events. Set it up. Have a group of kids play, a group of adults play. Everybody has a blast because it's like racing. You know, you're flicking these discs around. They're not like cars, but still, you want to see if you can make that shot all the way to the end, and that just makes it a whole lot of fun. Do you want to shoot one? Go ahead, shoot that. Oh, almost. One more time. Woohoo! And I mean, really, kids can play it, adults can play it. You can play it together, and it's fun knocking each other's cars around, trying not to go off the track. You got to come back and start from the spot where you went off, and just all together a very fun, enjoyable party game. If only it wasn't so heavy, I would carry it all over the place. I carried both boxes of Pitch Car and 2 boxes of Carabande one time for several blocks, and it just, I felt like my back was going to go out. So, yeah, I'll get it later. Number 34 is Pitch Car and Carabande. Number 33 is Liberte. Now, this actually used to be in my top 10. And the only reason it's dropped out of my top 10 is because I have a hard time getting people to play it. Because even though I think it's a great game, not everyone else enjoys it as much. So it's seen less play. But Liberte is a game that simulates the French Revolution. And on it you have a map of France broken up into provinces. And you can see that here. And is the map upside down? Or it's sideways, whatever. So here's the sideways map of France. And on that map you will be placing these wooden blocks, showing the rebels or the royalists or the neutral folks, the moderates, and you can take charge of different groups in different areas. It's a very chaotic game, but you're trying to control different provinces because whoever controls provinces will get points if you're controlling the ruling party, but you're not for sure exactly who the ruling party is. So you could stick your fingers in all 3 parties, but then you might not have the majority of that party. But what I really like is the fact that even if someone is way ahead of everybody else, even if someone else is totally dominating the game, you can come back. There's two alternate ways to win. There can be a complete rebellion, a total utter chaos, and if you're controlling the red blocks at that point in time, then you totally win the game. Lots of fun. Alternate endings makes Liberté not only a very historical game, but it's my favorite, well, not my favorite, but one of my favorite Martin Wallace's games. Just a tremendous game. I'm sorry it's out of print, but it's supposed to be coming back in. So if you get a chance, I would recommend getting Liberté. The final two games I'm going to talk about today are very similar to each other, and I've been playing a lot of them recently, and the only negative fact that both these games have is that they're two players. I really wish they could be more. But they were designed by two groups of designers, two designers each, but one designer was constant in both of them, and that's Jason Matthews. The first of these games, and the one I like a little bit less than the other, but we're talking barely, is 1960, The Making of the President. This is a game that simulates the election in 1960. Now, it's between Kennedy and Richard Nixon, and you'll be doing it, taking place on a large map. That's not a very good picture there. There's half of a large map of the United States, and on that map, you'll be putting piles and piles of cubes. Lots and lots of cubes. And so on the red cubes and blue cubes for the different political parties, and you're trying to control different states so that you get the most electoral votes. That's done by using cards. These cards have different properties. You can use them for a special event. You can use them to take over the media. You can use them to take over a different state. Go ahead. And all that works together to make a very tense political game. Going back one way, going the other way, trying to take Pennsylvania, trying to take New York, trying to take Texas, and I really have a blast at it. It's very clean. It's very good. It has a nice mounted board, and all that works together in its favor. But it's just slightly edged out by my number 31 game, and that game is the very popular Twilight Struggle, also by Jason Matthews. And this game is about the Cold War. Now, this one is not as highly produced as 1960. If you see here, the map is a big cardboard map showing the world. And in fact, I can't even put the map back in the box because I taped the back of the map so that it wouldn't keep falling apart, and then now therefore it doesn't fit back in the box. But I like this a little better, mostly because I like the theme of the Cold War. I grew up during that era, but it also, there's just so much more going on. Now, I added cubes to mine because I like having cubes in games. But, oh, the rules? There you go. But I like the fact that there's just so much more. If I take over Asia, you have a chance to take over Europe. There's nuclear war always hanging in the balance. There's the space race. There's just so much going on in this game. It's certainly not a game for new players because an experienced player will just destroy another player. And while 1960 seems very evenly balanced between Kennedy and Nixon, this game gives the edge to Russia. Russia wins maybe 60% of the time, according to the designer. But I'm telling you, I don't know. I just like this one a little better. Maybe I like the fact that I'm trying to take over the world and trying to conquer different countries via revolutions and via just peaceful takeovers or coups. But I just like how it all fits together and just a tremendous game. Twilight Struggle, taking over the world for freedom or for the red. Well, that's enough for today. Tremendous games. I guess it's time for you to go to bed, isn't it? Well, anyway, we've had a great day. There's still 30 more exciting games coming up. What are they? You're going to have to wait and see. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and this is my co-host, Holly. We'll see you guys next time.